Hi, Amascut here with another episode of Thoughts On, this time discussing the upcoming updates for 2017, as discussed at RuneFest 2016. I guess I'm just going to go ahead and dive into it. First things first, these updates cover really only about half of what 2017, will contain. We get through to about June-ish, and then we really know nothing past that. It's very likely that we will get another summer summit next year that will reveal the second half of the year's updates. However, even with only 6 months worth of updates kind of revealed, not even really 6 months, just some of the major stuff, we have a lot of cool information to talk about here. So first things first, I'm going to talk about the survey, the 2017 survey that went on. I did a thoughts on the survey itself, and yeah, now we're gonna see some of the results here. So the top 12 most wanted updates were, from first to last, the bank rework, an agility rework, the weather system, Slayer skill going to 120, a new solo boss, a new Slayer dungeon, player-owned farm and greenhouse, the mysterious continent, clue scroll overhaul, skilling pets, construction and POH rework, and skill specializations. So it's kind of interesting looking over this now. I really truly did not expect an agility rework to place so highly. It seems about a third, maybe a little bit more of its supports placed it anywhere from 7th to 12th on their most wanted, but it ended up getting a lot of votes. The bank rework was kind of a given. The weather system was hyped up very high. I was also surprised to see Slayer to 120 on there. In fact, it actually placed 1 to 3 the most for most people. Out of all of the things here, it is the highest that people placed it very highly on their list. Slayer to 120 also did honestly kind of surprise me. I really was not expecting that to be well received. I'm personally not a fan of it at all. But yeah, it did well and it's been announced. The weather system, like I said, makes sense. New solo boss. This poll opened up before Telos came out, so it certainly makes sense that this would do well. I'm I don't know if Jagex really should be making yet another solo boss though, and I'll talk about that more when we get to that section. But it was a little almost disappointing to see it this high up when the update has actually dropped since, and we knew one was coming. New Slayer dungeons on there, and we'll talk about that too. Player-owned farm and greenhouse is on there and was not announced. The mysterious continent's on there and is also not announced. Clue scroll overhaul on there and announced. Skilling pets are already out. They got pushed to August of this year. Construction and POH rework was not announced, and specializations was not announced. So interesting. Kind of what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of the 12 have either been announced or released. So let's go ahead and go into what the announcements were here. First, in the reworks section, they are reworking the bank, clue scrolls, and mining and smithing. So for the bank rework, we got a good look at the various changes they're making. You're going to be able to add placeholders to your bank. There's going to be essentially unlimited tabs. You can color code them. There's going to be way more presets. You can color and design, manage pretty much everything. There's filters. There's sorting options. The tiny little prototype that they showed us without even any like video attached to it is already awesome, and I'm really excited to see this. It seems this is being taken on by the Ninja team, which seems like a good grab on their part because they're very technically savvy. Next up, we got the Clue Scroll rework, which will include new God books, new Third Age gear, new rares, as well as a new tier of Clue Scroll called the Champion tier. We'll also be getting high scores and events such as Clue Scroll races. I really like pretty much everything in this, to be honest. I don't know what they're gonna do for new God books. Like, are they doing like the desert? Because I'd be all for that. New Third Age is cool. New rares. I'm a little concerned about the new tier of Clue. See, when they released Elites, they were talking about how high level and difficult they would be, and how varied everything would be. They honestly need to go above and beyond on these if they want them to succeed. Um, I have no problem with elites. I think they're very cool, but clue scrolls get stale very quickly. Once people figure out how to do the puzzles, bam, that's it. They're done. Like clue scrolls lose a lot of their challenge very quickly, and if they don't come up with a very unique and interesting system, they're just going to be doing another clue scroll rework in a couple months or a couple years. It's a big problem where they add new rewards, it incentivizes people to go in and play with it, and then nothing happens and everything kind of falls off. It's a pain in the ass for them, I'm sure, and it's painful for us as a community. But I'm really hopeful and I'm excited. I like the idea of the high scores, and the clue scroll races seems really cool. For the mining and smithing rework, they were just reaffirming that they still plan to make the rework and are continuing to work on it. Mod Jack has a absolutely massive set of questions and a feedback thread waiting for people to submit feedback. So if you have thoughts on the mining and smithing rework, please go to the forums and check that out. I will make sure there's a link in the description of this. Let's see. For combat, we got two announcements. The first was Shattered Worlds will officially be being made and will be coming. It'll be in the first half of the year and is a D&D like we thought. There is a portal that opens up to another dimension, and you hop in, kill mobs, skill, I guess. I don't really know about that one. It's all about, speed and movement and just being good at what you're doing. And it should be pretty challenging. You're gonna hop between various, pre-existing worlds. Things like one of the examples they showed was for Tardiad. You would hop in there and find rune dragons of all things. There are also things like mutators, similar to the Dominion Tower. You gain these mutators as you're playing, and they change how things work. Some examples we saw were soaking, which is cloud spawn randomly and rain down on the world. Watch out for lightning. Combustion, enemies now randomly spawn patches of fire. Electric, your hits have a chance to trigger a lightning bolt, which can jump to multiple enemies. Static, the longer you stay still, the more damage you take. And explode, enemies explode on death. That's really all we know. But there'll be secret shops, mini bosses, and strange creatures. So I'm really excited to see what they do with this. I think it has a lot of potential and it can be fun. I'm also glad that it's not being kind of rushed into production like it seemed like it was going to be if it had come out this year instead of the skilling pets that ended up coming out. So this seems like they're taking their time on it and better things are happening. The second thing is a new boss. As I mentioned up above when I mentioned the solo boss, I said I'd be talking about this. Oh boy. So first things first. Some people kind of reacted. A lot of people actually reacted to the news that it was a solo boss, and the dev team seems to have heard. And it seems that this will be a boss that's playable for anywhere from 1 to 5 players, I believe is what they said. Anyway, this boss is freaking sick. Oh man, I'm hyped. Like I love the design. I love the potential story for it, and there better be some story for it. Because if we get another boss update where we just get 0 lore on it, I'm gonna be really upset. We have the Calphite King now with 0 lore. The entire Exile Hive, in fact. We have a Raxor with absolutely nothing, just a random hole in the ground, and bam, giant, really overpowered spider. And then all 4 of the God Wars Dungeon Generals and Telos have essentially 0 lore attached to them. We don't, I mean, beyond the, tales from the God Wars and the tiny blurb about how Telos is an Anima Guardian, we know nothing. And I really want to see that changed. Now, one nice thing is we did hear, actually, in 2017 that they are planning to add some lore to the God Wars Dungeon 2, which is really exciting, and I'm eager to see what they'll do with that. Let's see. But yeah, this boss. Yeah, sorry, I totally got off topic there. This boss is called the Ambassador, and it's related to Zautak. We've discussed Zautak on the channel before in a Rune Secrets. So if you don't know about Zautak, go check that out. That'll be down in the description as well, or I might put it on an annotation at this moment. I'm really not sure yet because I'm recording and not editing the video right now. But it looks absolutely magnificent, like this evil, hideous, horrifying underwater Cthulhu. It is so cool. The design on this thing is magnificent, and I can't wait to see it in motion. Um, we have a couple images of various attacks it could do. The ambassador's mouth is located in the center of its body. When opened, it opens to a portal that leads to the space between the stars, is one of the descriptions. And then it can fling out energy spheres out in a stream towards its opponents. So it looks like this thing where it's throwing just these rotating orbs or balls around. It's just freaking cool looking. It has almost this anglerfish-like design too, with various glowing attachments, and everything else is hooded and dark, and it is incredibly, incredibly creepy looking, and I'm so excited to see this in motion. Next up, we got the lore and quests section. In this section, we actually only hear about 2 quests, but there's more than just those coming. The first one is the Elder God quest, a continuation of the Elder God storyline, which is about Bick and Entrana, and it's wondering what happens if Bick wakes up. Would she be angry that we exist? Can we reason with her? And we know about the eggs down below, and if there's something we can do with them. We really don't know what the scope and the idea of this quest really is, though, beyond the fact that it's us trying to deal with Bick. The next quest is an Evil Dave bottle quest, where Evil Dave, being a huge fan of Zamorak, decides he's got to go meet Zammy, and they're going to be BFFs. I think this is hilarious. I was a big proponent of trying to get Evil Dave into Dishonor Among Thieves. I thought it would have been hilarious and a really entertaining twist. So I like that Jagex has decided to go ahead and run with Evil Dave and Zamorak. It's supposed to be a pretty fun, funny quest with British humor. They're thinking about including a body swap theme, and I'm not sure I'm into that as much, but the core idea of it's really great. Some other things that we got were combat pets and the pet park. So we're gonna get some combat pets for combat skills, the remaining skills that weren't in the skilling pets. So Constitution, attack, strength, defense, ranged, prayer, magic, and summoning. Because we got Slayer already. Excuse me. And you're going to be able to design this park with cosmetic parts and train your pets to complete tasks like miscellanea. So you'll probably, just while you're out and about, be able to either find or build various cosmetic things that will go into your park. But I like the idea of kind of having another miscellanea, but at the same time, it almost bothers me because miscellanea itself is in a really bad state right now. And taking all of these pets, these absurd amount of pets that we're accumulating, and throwing them into a park and making them do tasks for you isn't super appealing to me. I'm also personally getting incredibly tired of pets, and I don't think we continue to need pet updates beyond putting them into the interface once and for all. But I'm gonna reserve judgment on this one. I don't hate it, but I'm not super excited for it personally. Next up, we are getting weather. So depending on where you are, weather will be dynamic. You could be, just from the images we see, there's the Wizard's Tower in a storm and a snowstorm, Al-Kharid in a sandstorm, or with a little bit of grass and rain, Taverley in a fog bank, or after a snowstorm. Just lots of really interesting, cool ideas that apparently will have actual interactions based on the weather. Like if it's raining, some stronger magic will attract types of combat creatures. When it's raining, your farming could speed up. Lightning strikes could land and deal damage to things that are hit. Just cool stuff like that. So I'm eager to see how that's going to play out. Next up, we're getting achievements, which I'm kind of confused about. I mean, I liked the idea, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to me because we already have achievements. They exist. Therefore, that's the task sets. So I don't know why they're adding now just this generic achievement set as well. But it seems there'll be things for combat, there'll be things for skilling, quests, mini quests, distractions, diversions, various things across the world, mighty feats, owning gear, various collections, and there will be tons of achievements on launch. So introduce new areas and new content that isn't just limited to these areas, which I'm all for. Like the Gnome Lands it's in a weird spot where it'd be kind of hard to build a whole achievement diary out of it, but it has content that is achievement diary worthy. So this seems like a good way to take advantage of those sorts of things. I like that. But the biggest thing that they announced was the unveiling of expansions. Instead of doing big updates every couple of every month, one large update, they are going to be doing Periphenos sized updates every 3 months, starting with June. The dev teams will be given 6 months to work on these updates and will alternate. So in June we get one from one team. In September we get one from the next team, and then in December we get one from the first team again. They're also not going to announce most of the things about it beforehand, so that we can really be surprised. And the first expansion was announced, and oh, I don't know how to describe exactly how excited I was, but it's gonna be Menaphos. I heard about this. I was actually at work and asked some people to tweet me if Menaphos was announced, and I feel my phone buzz to the tweet pattern. Look up at the clock, realize the big announcement's going on, and after a minute, I fish it out of my pocket, look down, see somebody going, "You got it, it's Menaphos," and I did a little skip. Oh my god, I'm so glad that it's finally been announced. It's not necessarily been a fight or anything, but it's been a long journey where I've been really hoping that Menaphos would finally come about. Losing last year, I can't say it hurt because I really like the arc, but it it was sad to not get it again, and hearing it's finally coming this year is incredibly exciting. So it's coming out in June, and it will. Oh, it's going to be fairly large. Instead of being something like the Elf City, where you really just go somewhere AFK and get kind of consistent XP, Menaphos is going to be about risking yourself for huge XP reward, but you're at risk of putting yourself in danger and also getting nothing, which I think is pretty cool. And we know this is going to be kind of a thing because of the first announcement for Menaphos, the Tombs of Menaphos. Apparently, Amascut is tearing parts of the city apart, trying to find something, which they said was Tumikin, but that doesn't make sense. So I'm just gonna pretend that's not the case. Um, and she's leaving these huge holes in the ground, and you you'll find these tombs, and you go in there and you complete tasks. You might see other players in there, and if you complete enough tasks before the tomb collapses, you'll be able to cash in XP. They used agility and herb lore as examples within the tombs, but apparently it will span most skills. Um, the next thing we heard about was a Crondis quest, which I'm super excited about, and I'm sure good old Crondis on this channel is very pleased about too. In fact, I know he is. I've talked to him a lot, of course. And I'm so excited about this. The quest looks awesome. The concept art's really cool. Check that out. And just it's another desert quest. I can't complain. I'm really glad to finally get another one. The third thing we're getting announced was Amascut's Slayer dungeon. She has taken over the Pharaoh's cast or the Pharaoh's palace and has warped it into a horrific Slayer dungeon with various monsters and various creepy creatures. And this is going alongside the Slayer cap being raised to 120, and some of the monsters in a Amascut Slayer dungeon will take advantage of those higher level requirements. As I mentioned early on, I'm not a big fan of 120 Slayer happening. I don't think it's particularly great. I don't think it's particularly needed for the skill, especially when Invention still has not been finished up to 120 and has plans for 120 have been canceled. So now they're, for some unknown reason, raising Slayer by 21 levels and still not finishing the last, what is it, 15 levels of Invention? Honestly, even 21, because 105 has no decent unlocks. Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking with this one, and I'm not a huge fan of it. So I would really like them to maybe rethink it, maybe go for something like a more elite skill approach, but finish Invention first. That just really needs to happen. I'm not happy, and I'm not a fan. But beyond that, for the most part, I would say 2017 is absolutely incredible. I have so little to complain about. Menaphos sounds amazing. I'm so excited. We have 3 confirmed quests. We have a 4th that apparently a dev is working on in tap time, which is heavily theorized to be Elemental Workshop 5 due to some Twitter interactions with Mod Doctor, but I'm not confirming that. He clearly wasn't confirming that. So we really don't know. I would love for it to be Elemental Workshop 5, but really that's just my opinion, and that's the vague hints that have been thrown out there that are super, super vague, so take them with a grain of salt, please. Yeah, though, it seems really, really solid. Beyond the 3 quests and the secret hinted 4th one, we know that there will be several other quests in the year. They're going to be properly taking advantage of bottle quests next year as well, making use of these smaller team sizes, making updates in between the huge expansions to make these bottle quests. We're also going to need a lot more tails next year. We don't know what, but they'll be there. And another very exciting thing to me is that in Menaphos itself, we may not just be getting 1 quest. They very explicitly, in the description of the update, said that there may be other smaller quests, be that bottle quests, be those tails. Either way, I'm extremely excited to see what comes of it. So that's I think all we know about 2017. So yeah, that's my thoughts on pretty much all of that. I have summarized a lot more than I've thoughts on, but yeah, for the most part, I'm very excited to see what's coming out of this, and yeah, I would love to hear what anybody watching's opinions on all of these updates are, and I guess their opinions on my opinions here too. That would be nice. Thank you so much for watching. I will be having a single thoughts on video for both the lore corner and the future of skilling. And we also have a new episode of Rune Secrets coming out very, very soon that I may be recording instead of Crondis, as some new information in the lore corner popped up that has made a Rune Secrets that we've been contemplating extremely interesting. So keep an eye out for that. Those will be coming fairly soon, within the next week or so, probably sooner than that if I have more free time. So thank you so much for watching. I've been Amascut, and these are my thoughts on the 2017 content. Bye!